Can we talk about how since feminism took over and more women were shoved into the workforce, like STEM and education, those fields, particularly the medical field and particularly the education system, have become rapidly feminized. And so now we're pathologizing male behavior and we're diagnosing all these young boys with ADHD and we're medicating them like it's a disease, even though it's not. But all these women just think that it's like poor behavior, but it's really just masculine behavior, and then we're turning our young boys into more feminine boys, and now we don't have any real good men to fight the real evil men that are in the world, and that's why society is collapsing. Can we talk about that?
Is it good with the syrup?
She's ready.
I'm sorry. What is that?
This is the smoked salmon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I still want to eat it. It's like I bit the onion. I bit the onion. It doesn't. You can't just bite into it.
Woman in the comments said, livid over this interaction? I'm tired for him. Another person said, this kind of jealousy is basically you're emotionally mishandling him because he's done nothing to deserve any kind of retaliation for the actions of another girl. Another person said, babe, not everyone wants your man. A girl could just be hungry. Another person said, these comments are not going how you thought they would. And there's just some other women in the comments talking about how she is emotionally mishandling him. She's mad at him because he's having a conversation with another woman because she asked him a question. Woman in the comments said, if my man was rude to a woman, I would be appalled. I would be appalled. Why would he treat another human being that way? And that sounds like what he was doing. A man can't go out to brunch and enjoy himself because you're over there stuffing your face thinking about how to be stupid. Why don't you just eat your waffles, pay the check, and go home now?
I hate when I see a man that's so fine and then I pass him and he doesn't say anything. Like when people say, oh, girls don't shoot their shot. Yes, they do. If I look at you like this, like say you walking this way and I'm walking like this, and if I look at you like this, that's me shooting my...
That video has almost 1 million likes on it. That just shows how delusional women are. Like, you glance and that's you shooting your shot. Like, you can't even smile. Hey, I wonder why dudes don't talk to y'all no more. That's not shooting your shot. That's not even giving him a sign that he can shoot his shot.
I was dating this guy once and I had furniture being delivered that I needed to build for my patio. And so I texted him and I said, oh yeah, I ordered the furniture online. It's being delivered, ... in boxes, ... That's all I said. He texted back and I quote, Godspeed, with like the little like emoji, you know? That's all I said. You hate me. Like, you hate me if you're not gonna... So I took that exact same text message and I thought, okay, maybe this is like a lot to ask. Maybe this is me being needy. Maybe this is me being annoying, whatever. So I copied and pasted. I didn't word it any differently. I literally copied and pasted my text, sent it to my guy best friend, and he said, and I quote, I can come over tomorrow after work if you want. I didn't have to say, can you help me? I really need help. All I said was, I'm having furniture delivered in boxes to be built. And the man that I was dating that supposedly liked me said, Godspeed. Don't forget the Godspeed. And my guy best friend said, I'll come over tomorrow after work. And he did. He came over the next day after work and built it with me. I'm like, newsflash, nobody likes building furniture. Like, that's nobody's hobby, is to like build furniture. It sucks. But the hobby is doing something with the person you like. Like, my friends could ask me to like go pick up dog poop for them at a public park and I'd be like, yeah, okay, like, are you gonna be there? Like, we can hang out? Yeah, sure, I'll do it. Like, I would do anything that my friends want to do to spend time with them. And this is a guy that I'm dating that supposedly likes me, and you're gonna say Godspeed? Jesus.
Is Cameron in your friend zone? Does Cameron have feelings for you? Is that the person that you should be dating instead of your boyfriend here? Maybe these are questions that we need to sort out before proceeding even further.
Here I am pushing Alyssa's car, fixing the damn problem by myself. Who needs a guy when you have me? So 3 hours later of trying to get Alyssa's car to work, and it's clear to say that I had no clue what I was doing. And I guess we do need men, because the whole inside of my car exploded and caught on fire. Ow.
So you ruined somebody's car messing around. Modern women continue to show us they don't care nothing about messing other people's stuff up. When it comes to their pride, their ego, that's all that matters at that point. And afterwards, they just break down and say sorry, and that should be enough.
I am on a hot streak of guys that I'm hanging out with being like, man, you're just like hanging out with a dude. No, I'm not. I'm in my divine feminine. I'm not like hanging out with a dude. 1, makes you a little gay. 2, I'm a pretty girl. And I like pretty girl things. I don't like hanging out with a dude.
I understand that for many women, height is a physical preference that they really desire in a partner. Can you imagine a man taking that physical preference that they desire in a partner, putting it above their personal physical safety, their emotional well-being, their mental health? I think that is very hard to imagine. We do not see that happening very often in our society. For women, that is exactly what is happening when they're dating a moderate or a political partner or marrying that person. That is definitely what's happening when they partner with a conservative man. I just want you to consider that when you're putting their height, a man's height, above his political values.
I see where you're going, but you're still off. You need to be worried about his integrity. You need to be worried about his character. Too few times y'all get close to the answer, and then when you're right there at the precipice, it's gone. You just let it go. Like you miss it. You just fall off. You never cross the ocean. You never get across the other side of the bridge. And this is what's happening here. You almost had it. You almost had it.
I understand that for many women, height is a physical preference that they really desire in a partner. Can you imagine a man taking that physical preference that they desire in a partner, putting it above their personal physical safety, their emotional well-being, their mental health? I think that is very hard to imagine. We do not see that happening very often in our society. For women, that is exactly what is happening when they're dating a moderate or a political partner or marrying that person. That is definitely what's happening when they partner with a conservative man. I just want you to consider that when you're putting their height, a man's height, above his political values.
And in my opinion, I just think it's simply because men are followers. Like, men only like what other men like.
I was gonna get on here and make all types of jokes or whatever, but instead I'm gonna be a little bit more informative. Now, if you've ever seen a clip from one of these pop the balloon videos, men and women, you can answer this question. What do you seem to notice about the pop the balloon videos? When the women are holding the balloons, when a man walks out, right, and anybody in the lineup pops their balloon, how many pops do you hear following that first pop? Many pops. Right, when the women are holding the balloons. But when you play it back and you go and watch the male version where the men are holding the balloons, and let's say a man pops his balloon, how often do you hear everybody else pop as well? Or multiple pops? Or is it that you wait for the lady to come out, if they see that she's attractive or unattractive, you'll hear a pop, but then the rest of the men will hear her out and be like, nah, and then pop, right? But whenever I see pop the balloon clips, women will see that the other women no longer interested in this dude, and they're like, ugh, if they're not interested, why am I interested? And they pop their balloon too. And let's take it out of pop the balloon. Women can be fully convinced to not like a guy that they like anymore because their friends told them to. That doesn't happen the same way as men. Women prefer to go for a man who's a celebrity. Like, if they can have a celebrity or a regular dude, most women are going for the celebrity. He has status. He's proved himself in society that he's somebody. Men, on the other hand, want a woman that nobody knows, that treats him well and it looks good. Like, that's the male requirements is looks good, treats me nice. Okay? Men don't want a celebrity, right? Like, for example, men don't want Rihanna because, oh my gosh, she's Rihanna. It's because Rihanna looks good. Rihanna looks good. I don't want to diss nobody, but insert whatever rapper with a lean belly that you can implant here. Women want that man not because that man looks good, but because he has status. It's not even necessarily the money, it's just the clout. What is that clout? Proving goodness, this is crazy. Other women like these men because other women like these men. That's it. That doesn't apply to men, but y'all wanted to so bad. This is projecting. Men want Sydney Sweeney not because other men want Sydney Sweeney. Men would want Sydney Sweeney if no man wanted Sydney Sweeney. Let's, for example, right? Pete Davidson, right? Nobody talked about Pete Davidson until other celebrity women got with him, and then they said something about Pete Davidson. Then you would see comments of women saying, you know what, I never noticed, but Pete Davidson kind of looks good. If Pete Davidson wasn't Pete Davidson, y'all would have never cared about that man. Ever. If he was just a regular dude, he would have been a regular dude. But because other celebrity women got with him, all of a sudden now y'all want Pete Davidson. Oh my goodness, this is nuts.
I just need to know if I'm losing my mind or not. I told my boyfriend that I was going to cook dinner tonight, right? I made this really good lemon and garlic salmon, and I made coconut spinach rice. So I just call him. He went out for a run. Now he comes back home. I call him, and he's like sitting in a restaurant. Mind you, I knew we weren't going to see each other till about 10 because he still had to work after. But I just want to know, like, should he not get blocked for going out to eat and not starving until 10? For reference, that was around like 7 o'clock, so it would have been a calm 3 hours. And it's just like, I get it, maybe he does have to eat, but like a whole full meal in a restaurant? Or am I just a selfish bitch?
Why would he be waiting till 10 to eat? Doesn't make any sense. Is the food going to spoil by tomorrow? Maybe you can have it for lunch or for dinner tomorrow night. I don't get why y'all be trying to have everything y'all way. This is why men are having trouble pleasing women in relationships, because it has to be how they want it. And they get online and they say stupid stuff, and women in the comments are validating that he could have grabbed a piece of toast. Why would he eat toast? How is toast going to hold him over? If he gets off at 5, all the way until 10, he would have had a piece of toast. A grown man. Are you hearing what you're saying? A woman said he could have picked up some McDonald's fries to hold him over. Again, we're talking about a grown man here. We're talking about a grown man here. No, girl, he definitely could have had a little snack to hold him over. From 5 to 10? For 5 hours? If this man eats lunch, if he eats lunch at 12, if he eats lunch at 1, you want him to have a snack in between that time? Most people by 6 or 7 are starving. 8 is the latest a lot of people eat. What are you talking about? You're 2 hours past the latest time people eat. I'm thinking of Jillian Michaels right now, the trainer. Says, I try not to eat past 8 o'clock. The trainer. You're asking him to eat 2 hours past that, when the man should be taking a shower and in bed and getting ready for work. He should be shutting his night down, but you're asking him to have a full-on meal. Do y'all hear yourselves?
Keep seeing videos on here from women talking about how they can't believe that certain guys would match or approach them, and how these guys are so unattractive that them thinking they had a shot makes that woman feel worse. And inevitably, the comment section is filled with guys saying, see, this is why we don't try anymore. And none of this is anything remotely new. I remember seeing the same thing 15 years ago when I started working on my social skills. But these kinds of posts are exactly why you need to try. Because all this talk about how I had to meet some impossible standard or it would be insulting for me to talk to someone vanished the moment I actually talked to someone. Because even though she wasn't interested in really even having a conversation, she didn't recoil in disgust. She didn't point and laugh. She wasn't cruel. She wasn't mean. She didn't call security and have them remove me from the building. Nothing happened, except that she wasn't interested. And yeah, getting rejected sucks, but nowhere near as much as I thought it would. And especially because none of these horrible life or ego-ruining things that social media promised was going to happen to me happened to me. After meeting another, 50 to 100 women just out in the wild, I realized you're never going to encounter someone like that. Because not only are women with that belief such a tiny, tiny portion of the overall population that it's statistically unlikely you'd see one, they don't really go outside. Because anyone with that low self-esteem is doing everything they can to stay in their bubble and away from any undesirables. Which is disappointing, because at this point I'd really love to run into one.
So I think a few things are happening here. I do agree with some of your points, but I think for a lot of men, they would just rather stay single than to have to play a game. You know what I mean? When you talk about rejection, that's already hard. But then you add the fear of public humiliation and all that other nonsense that comes along with it. And that makes it not just exponentially harder, it makes it, it's not an attractive option to the man at that point in time. If you combine that with mixed messages from dating advice, it makes the man think too much. Oh, approach her like this, say this, don't approach her like this, shake her hand like this, kiss her feet like this. Men are like, so what do I do? Like, what am I supposed to be doing? Right? So you combining all that stuff and you're saying, am I going to approach? Do I want to approach? Is it worth it to approach? Because to men who are, it's mostly, okay, how do I do this? Tell me how to do it. Tell me how you do it so I can get the result that you're getting. And for some of these women, what they're doing is they're going around in circles instead of trying to get to the actual answer. And so for a man, he's like, if you're going to be, it's going to be a game to him, basically. If you're going to play these games, then I'm just not going to approach. I'm going to chill out. And then that's going to lead to women saying, why are so many men sitting on the sidelines? Why don't men approach? Well, men are like, I understand I'm probably, in a lot of these instances, not going to be a public spectacle. I don't want to be that, but I'm just tired of the games. I'm mentally exhausted. You tell me to read your eyes. You tell me to read how you're tapping your feet on the ground. You tell me how to read if you're scratching your elbow. I don't want to do all of that. Do you like me or not? At this point in time, if you guys are saying don't approach or come approach, definitely approach, don't approach here, definitely approach here, you're going to have to start putting a little bit more effort in to say, I am interested in you. My name is, and y'all go from there. That's what men are saying.
Every single time I'm at the bar and I ask a man for their number, I always have something weird happen. I think that people will watch this video and be like, well, you should never ask a guy for their number. Like, what are you doing? And I disagree with that because I think that most men don't get approached and they're scared to approach women. So if I think a guy's cute, I'm going to go up and ask for his number, and I don't think that's weird. And it takes a lot of courage, and that is what I did on Friday night. This guy bought me a drink at the bar, and we were talking for like probably 10 or 15 minutes, and he was very, very masculine. He was a little older, maybe in his 30s or 40s, so he just looked super mature and he was very nice. And I said, hey, I don't know if this is weird, but I think you're super cute. Like, can I have your number? And he goes, oh my gosh, like, you're so pretty and you're so sweet, but I have a boyfriend and I'm gay. And I thought, wow, I'm a Fiat and I'm embarrassed, and I'm pretty sure his boyfriend was at the bar with him. And I'm just like, this is why, like, I rarely ever ask men for their number, because I always get rejected.
I really want to talk about this comment because this is definitely something that has come across my desk a few times in the last few weeks, especially. I think it's very important for women to acknowledge that, when we complain that men don't approach women anymore in public, this is the fear that's going on in their heads, is that they are scared of being shamed online. And I've spoken to younger men, and especially with younger men, this rings true. And it was interesting because I was listening to Theo Von's podcast, the episode that he had Andrew Huberman on, and Andrew Huberman said the same thing. He said that he mentors a lot of young men who have this genuine fear of being shamed online by women, which is why they don't feel the need or the urge or the desire to approach women in public anymore. And honestly, like, if I thought that I would be publicly shamed online if I approached a man, I probably wouldn't do it either. So obviously there are nuances to the situation, like people who inappropriately approach women or do it in a derogatory way or do it in a disrespectful way, of course, but we're not really speaking about that. We're talking about just men not wanting to talk to women in public because they're scared they're going to get trashed online. And as women, I think we really need to acknowledge our behavior in this cycle. If we continue to berate men online and talk about how, a guy approached you and he was ugly and you're gonna make fun of him and do all this stuff on the internet, don't complain when men have this genuine fear of approaching women in public anymore. So thank you for leaving this comment. I think it is really important to talk about that because it's really, truly come across my desk multiple times in the last few weeks, and it's something that I've actually wanted to talk about. And the more that I speak to men and the more that, you know, I listen to men who mentor young men, especially, this is what the genuine fear is. So, yeah, okay, bye.
If y'all are going to call men creeps, then can you show like actual creepy behavior? Maybe you're not going to be able to capture it all the time, but there's going to be somebody at some point in time recording, and they're going to be able to catch the behavior. So a man would be like, yeah, that's weird. Why is he doing that? And men are not afraid to call other men out, despite what y'all are saying. Yeah, I know that there's plenty of men out there that don't call or hold dudes accountable, but there are also a lot of men that y'all don't give credit to that say, nah, he was wrong for that. Yeah, that's my boy, but he shouldn't have done that. Let me go speak to him.
Am I the asshole for telling my wife we either share our lotto winnings or we separate and I get half anyways? I don't think... What? I are extremely fortunate to have won a decent amount of money from the lotto recently. It wasn't the top prize, but it was enough to pay off our sizable mortgage and still have some left over for vacations. The mortgage was by far our biggest weekly cost, and with that gone, we could both comfortably cut back hours at work to only school hours and spend some more time with our kids. This was always a daydream we spoke about when we bought lotto tickets. I assumed this is what we would both do. When we got the money and paid off our house, everything almost immediately turned bad. My wife started talking about how amazing it's going to be finally not having to work anymore. I was blindsided by this. Even with the mortgage gone, we would still have to work at least school hours to keep our current standard of living. And on my salary alone, things would be tight. I asked if she was serious, and she said, of course. It was her ticket, and she gets to decide. This is because we both bought lotto tickets before, and when we moved in together, we only bought one because it seemed like two was a waste of money. I tried to reason with her, say she could use some of the extra to take some unpaid leave here and there, but she needs to keep her job. When I said, quote, if I'm only working school hours, she absolutely flipped and started accusing me of being a gold digger and ruining this for her. How she deserved it after working so much of her life, etc. I asked her for a pause because I was honestly afraid. She's never been like this before. It makes people change. The next few days, we tried to have this conversation again, but she didn't budge an inch. And when she said, quote, well, it doesn't matter now because I'm putting in my notice at work, I lost it and told her I'm not going through with this. If she's not going to share the winnings, which is under both of our names, I'll divorce her and get half through the house and therefore half the winnings anyways. This started another screaming match where she continued to call me a gold digger. I'm absolutely exhausted and lost. I feel like my life has been replaced by an imposter. I would have preferred not winning if I knew this was going to happen. Am I the asshole?
Woman in the comments here said you're not at fault, but unfortunately you might have to divorce anyways. The constant arguing and being called a gold digger would be enough for me to never see her the same again. Yeah, man. I don't know what's going on here. I don't want to say it. I don't want to say you're going to have to get a divorce. I really don't. But the way that she's acting, I don't know, man. I'm at a loss for words as to what you should do. You said you tried reasoning with her. You tried, talking this out, but she's not budging. She flipped and decided she was going to do what she wanted to do. I'm glad. We have this video right here because so many women speak about men controlling the finances, controlling them, being the only one working, them being a stay-at-home mom. So they're vulnerable and they're basically, in so many words, at the mercy of the man. But now, when the shoe's on the other foot, seems like you're no better than what you claim a man is. Y'all are so altruistic. Y'all are so empathetic. You guys just singing We Are the World every other week, right? Kumbaya. But all of a sudden, when the money gets in your hand, you pay out the mortgage, you say, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and retire. I'm not talking to my husband about it. This is something that I'm going to do. She says, I've been working for so long, like this man hasn't been working. I'm going to stop working to leave you to continue to bust your behind for, let's say they're in their 40s. You got to get to 60 at least, 20 more years. While I sit around the house and do nothing. Bingo. Bingo, bingo, bingo. And this is what men continue to try to tell y'all. When y'all say that men don't be courting, they don't be taking you out on fancy dates and fancy dinners, because they know how it's going to end. Like this. They know they're just waiting on the other shoe to drop. That's it. And in this situation, and I'm sorry to hear this actually, to be honest with you, the other shoe dropped. I hope this is a joke. I really do. I hope this is one of those stories that somebody made up. And it's, oh man, these guys are idiots. They believe that? I was just trolling. I hope that that's what this is. Because all I'm going to say is there ain't no way that you can't see how you as a woman would be wrong in this situation. If it was a man, they would be all down his throat, all on his case for making this decision, flipping. The women in the comments would tell him to divorce anyway. Women in the comments would tell that woman to divorce him immediately. Pull the money out the bank account while he's sleeping. Pack up all, don't, as a matter of fact, pull all the money out. Don't pack no clothes. Don't do nothing. Just leave. Just leave. Go far, far away off the grid where he can't find you. Take that money, start a new life. That's what they would tell you.
I don't know, y'all. Somebody lying. Because on the internet, y'all said that black men don't like natural hair. They don't like kinky hair. But when I go out in public and I wear big kinky hair, either whether it's my natural hair or hair that mimics my hair, that's when I get the most attention. That's when I get the most compliments. That's when I get the most attention for black men. So I don't know. Somebody lying. Somebody lying.
Women over 30 are still getting married. Single moms are still getting married. And fat women are still desired in real life. And whenever I try to say this to a misogynist or try to convince this to a misogynist, they always just burst out in flames and call me an old cat lady and a single mom. Mind you, I'm 22, I'm child free, and I've been engaged twice. And at one point in my life, I was 195 pounds. First fiance proposed in 6 months. Second fiance proposed in 3. Them didn't waste no time. And I was fat as hell. And these wasn't just no regular nigga. These was like high value niggas. These was the nigga everybody wanted. The first fiance was a lawyer. Second fiance was an engineer. And it would have been the third time, but I stopped talking to the nigga. And now that I am 165 pounds, I've proceeded to lose the weight. I'm starting to see my jawline and my collarbone. Don't approach me no more. If anything, the foster was longer when I was fat. So yeah, like whenever you try to like convince this to a lot of red pillars, they really can't wrap their mind around the fact that women who are undesirable in society or women who that they deem undesirable still end up with the husband. And I just never understood it because it's just kind of like, do y'all not touch grass? A passport bro just got on this app and said that he married a woman with 7 kids. He married a woman with 7 kids. And Kevin Samuels even said it himself. He married a single mom because she was attractive. And you mean to tell me in 2025, nobody's marrying a single mom? I can't believe that. I cannot believe that. I have no kids and I've been picked over a single mom. And it wasn't even because of them having kids. They got picked because they was fine. And that was the end and all be all. They got picked because they was fine. If you are fine, you can do whatever you want. Y'all have said it 1,000 times again. Fit, feminine, cooperative, and 150 pounds. Under 150 pounds, you can have whoever you want. So why can't y'all fathom the fact that no matter how much baggage a woman has, or no matter how much, you know what I'm saying, whether the woman fat or whatnot, she still get picked? Why can't y'all fathom that? And it's so annoying. 40-year-olds are still getting married.
You guys are acting like you don't understand what men are actually telling you. Well, I've been this size and I've done this, and I've been that size and I've done this. Fit, feminine, friendly. A lot of these ladies out here are rude. They're entitled. They're not pleasant to be around. Feminine. A lot of these women acting masculine. They're competing with men. They're being combative, argumentative. A man is not going to want that. We go back to the proverb, a man would rather live in a corner, or he would rather live on a rooftop than to live in a house with a contentious woman. Period. End of story. The problem arises when entitled women think they can act any type of way and a man is going to wife them. They say, I, as a single mother, my standards are way higher. I expect a man to be this, and this. No, you don't. Not saying that you're not worthy of love, but you're acting like you're better than this person who didn't have any kids. You're acting like you're more than this person who doesn't have all of the baggage that you have. All men continue to tell women is be humble, relax, calm your attitude down. That's it.
Why do we as black women continue to say that we're the least protected and ask black men to protect us if we're not willing to listen to them? Men can't protect someone that is not willing to listen to them. And most black men are not going to protect some random chick on the street. He's going to protect his wife. He's going to protect someone he loves, someone he's with, someone he's responsible for. He's not going to protect Shaniqua out on the corner or some chick in the mall. He's not going to do that. So if we want protection, we have to be under the covering of men. Otherwise, women, go get yourself a gun, learn how to train, or learn martial arts or jujitsu or something like that. But stop asking men to protect you.
I don't understand how women can say we don't need a man and then follow that up by saying men aren't protecting us. That is so schizophrenic to me. That is so bipolar to me. That is so, it's like an oxymoron. It's like if you ever seen a sketch on the Dave Chappelle show about Rick James when he put his feet on Eddie Murphy's couches, and he was like, in one sentence he said, what do I look like? I'm Rick James. What do I look like putting my feet up on Eddie's couches? And in the very next sentence he said, yeah, I'll put my feet on Eddie's couches. This is the same thing as, how are you saying I'm independent, I don't need a man? And then you follow that up by saying black men, like for example, aren't protecting black women. That is so bizarre. That is so schizophrenic to me. But that makes sense to so many people in this conversation about black men not protecting black women. It's a lot of us that are doing a double take. Like, what? I thought you just said you didn't need me. That's why, I jetted. That's why I got out of here. You said you didn't need me. Remember? But then you turn around and say we need your protection. It is one of the most bizarre, weirdest things about these conversations that...
Really good points made here. I'm thinking of something. I'm going to see if I can explain it correctly. So a man, a lot of times, is going to build the structure for you, okay? So if you think like a fence, and it's just like a regular square structure, basically. Too many women walk to that fence, that structure that he built, and say, this is too restrictive. It's not enough. This is trash. You're not a good builder. And a man says, well, I'm still working on myself. I'm still trying to learn how to do certain things. And I'm trying to make the space bigger, but this is my capabilities right now. And here's my resume. It's me working. It's me trying to do what you asked. But a woman would sit there and trash him for what he's not able to do. That's when women say the bar is on the floor, because they look at a man's structure and it's not as big as a wide open field. So they feel like they're restricted. They're controlled. They're not free to do whatever they want to do. They're not free to roam wherever they want to roam. And so they say the man is controlling, and he's manipulative, and he's a narcissist. But what the man is actually saying to you is, no, these are just my capabilities. You see that I was smart enough to buy all of this land. It's just that there are woods out there. There are trees. I don't know what's in the trees, but I've done the work to say that this little plot right here is safe. I can guarantee this. But if you go outside that fence, I cannot guarantee that. Well, I went outside once and I did this, and I went outside twice and it was okay. It might be okay on the few instances that you do it, but don't make it a habit of going outside this fence. Women will continue to do that over and over and over again. And then they'll wonder why they're having problems, because you keep on stepping outside of a man's, his influence, his parameter. Here's what you should do. You should stay inside that fence, build that fence, grow and nourish what's inside that fence. And by the time you do all of that, the man will say, I've got enough skill to build more. I've explored more. I've researched more. I've knocked some more trees down. So I'm expanding the perimeter. And before you know it, over a period of time, the man has developed the skills to knock all those trees down and expand that fence. And so now you're out there with protection, running in that field that was once overgrown and had a bunch of wildlife and a bunch of danger. Now it's cleared. And now you've built whatever you wanted to build in there because you stayed inside what he had for you and you were able to follow his direction. You stayed inside his influence and you always stayed protected. Modern women don't do that nowadays. They sit up here and give a man problems and they wonder why they keep on getting messed up by wildlife.
I am about to talk about men for an entire month. Let me tell you why. For those of you who don't know, I'm a matchmaker based in New Orleans. I started this business officially in March and I'm meeting tons of amazing people, most of which I have met through social media platforms like TikTok and Instagram. I want to talk for a second about a disconnect that I'm experiencing, and that is statistics. Dating apps are mostly men. Tinder is 76% men and 24% women. Bumble and Hinge and Match are 60% men, 40% women. OkCupid, 65% men. The only one that is actually female predominant at 57% is eHarmony, and that is likely because there is an extensive intake process, more financial buy-in, and focus on long-term relationships. As a matchmaker, my ratio is 30 women to every 1 man. And for you percentage people, that's roughly 97% women and 3% men, which is the exact opposite of what is happening on dating apps. I have a database full of amazing women that are educated, beautiful, multidimensional, loving women looking for quality connection and long-term relationships. So where is this mismatch? Why are there so many single people who cannot seem to find each other? In my opinion, it is because we have a lack of men putting forth effort in the right direction and with the right intensity for meeting amazing women. Firstly, through no fault of their own, men are grossly misinformed about what women want. Men think that women want money, six-pack abs, height, fancy cars, a giant penis, endless work ethic, and Gucci shoes. And when they feel that they do not have the ability to offer that to a woman, they kind of throw in the towel. They get lazy, they get complacent. I can confidently tell you that after interviewing endless women, they don't want any of that. They say that they want someone plugged into their relationship, someone who works hard, who's emotionally available, someone they respect and are attracted to. And when I ask them to expand on that, they say attraction is not about a certain physical type. It's about being confident, hygienic, aware of how they present themselves. And they say respect isn't garnered by how much money you have or the car that you drive, but rather how a man communicates, how he reacts to conflict, if he leads by example, if he's kind to others, if he's emotionally mature. Men are flippantly throwing up a profile on Tinder with a few selfies, a winky face emoji, and they're calling it a day, and they're disappointed with the lack of online response. Men are not making the effort to develop the things that women actually want. So if you want a connected relationship, guys, you have to start with developing your emotional bandwidth, your physical health, your confidence, develop your ability to communicate, develop your interests, your hobbies, build skills like carpentry and cooking and things that make you a good partner. Get your finances in order, clean your house, run your life with discipline. We are going to talk about all of that this month. I'm Dr. Charlotte Vaughn. Men, follow me for more content on how to become the type of man that women want.
A man in the comments said, my experience dating as a man disagrees with what was said here. I accept that my below average looks, despite being relatively in shape, price me out of the dating market. Multiple women I have met online have said that they were expecting more from me financially since I don't have the height and looks. Where are all the good men at? I'm looking for a good man. A man to take care of me. Where are they?
Okay, who's right and who's wrong? Me and my husband were both very angry with each other last night. I was angry because I've had that on the calendar for well over a month that I was going to book club last night. It was my very first time ever going to book club. I never do anything for myself. We have 3 kids under the 3 years old. They're almost 3, almost 2, and 4 months old. And I literally never do anything for myself. So I was like, I want 2 hours. I want from like 7 to 9 o'clock. I want to go to this book club and I just want to have fun and enjoy myself with the girls. So that's exactly what I did. I called him at 5:30 and I said, hey, don't forget that you need to be home in time to watch the kids at like 6:45 so I can go to book club. And he was all mad because we're renovating our new house and he wanted to work on that and he had forgotten that he was supposed to watch the kids. And I was like, no, you need to come home and watch the kids. And he's like, well, bring the kids out here, bring everything that they need and I'll watch them out here. And I was like, fine, whatever. It made me like 20 minutes late to book club. So I didn't get there until 7:20. They were halfway done talking about the book. And then I planned on being there until 9 o'clock. I got like 10 phone calls in the hour that I was there with him not being able to handle the kids. And he is mad at me because we need to get the work done on the house. And I want the work done on the house too. But I wanted one night. And he was just so mad. He couldn't handle the kids. I could hear the baby screaming in the background. I get there at like 8:30 and my 2 toddlers are running amok and he's got the baby. He's got earplugs in because the baby is just screaming. He's like propped up the bottle. I don't know how long he'd been trying to feed him the bottle, but he's got the bottle like propped up and he's just sitting there going like this, all mad and annoyed. I grabbed the kids. I got in the car. I didn't even talk to him. But like, I wanted one night. So, you know what? Try to tell me that he's right and I'm wrong. Because you're not going to be able to. Although I feel like if he made this TikTok, the story would sound a lot different. But that is what happened. And the more I talk about it, the more mad I get. And the more my thoughts jumble. Anyways, who's right? Who's wrong? Me or him?
She's a stay-at-home mom. And I knew by the way she was talking that was probably going to be the case. And all I really had to do, this is a different video, but all I really had to do was click more down there in the comments and it showed me stay-at-home mom as one of the captions. And even right here on this video, where the caption is sitting on a park bench enjoying my coffee at 8 a.m. or 8:30 a.m. while my toddlers have the whole playground to themselves. This is life. Okay? She's saying how much she enjoys doing this. Mind you, at 8:30, her husband is probably busting his behind at work right now. He's not getting at a break. So, once again, we have to go back to, and I'm not saying that you're not doing anything. I'm just saying, being at a park bench while your kids run around is a lot easier sometimes than sitting in an office or wherever he is. I don't even know what he does, but he's out there busting his behind. He's got to commute to work, be at work all day long, got to commute from work. Just for him, if he gets home at 5:30, he's just getting off work. He's probably tired and he's thinking the whole entire time, I got to get these renovations done. Well, we both want to do it, but you actually are not letting on. You want the renovations done more than you're letting on. And you're leaving stuff out, I feel, because you want people to agree with you. But it's a little bit more nuanced than what she's letting on. He's not as wrong as she's trying to make it seem. I don't think that she should have come to the internet with this. I think, yes, he should be able to watch his kids, but people aren't realizing that the man has been at work all day. And then he's going to have to come home, watch the kids while he's trying to work on something that you probably want as much as him. And so while you're off reading books and getting your social time in, which is fair, he's doing more work and babysitting at the same time. You see how that looks? If that man were to sit there, because y'all probably have a deadline, a time limit on when y'all want these renovations done. And it's probably him doing a majority of the work, depending on what it is. I'm about to go through this profile and see if I can see anything that has to do with the renovations. But more than likely, he's not 100% in the wrong here. It's a little bit more nuanced. So this is part of the renovation here. Apparently they're redoing the floors. It looks like they're doing some work on the walls a little bit too. Bingo. This is what I was looking for. You see? You see? What's a bigger sin, tearing out hardwood floors or the previous owner letting their cats and dogs pee all over them is I think what you meant to say. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. It's him doing this. They've got cats. There's the baby. What is she doing? Filming. I knew it. This is what some of these ladies do. They don't protect their relationship. For her, honestly, this is probably a non-issue. She's probably just blowing off some steam. But people in the comments, people on the internet, they don't think that far. And so they're demonizing him. But you can see this man has clearly been at work all day. And what I said in my previous statement, I don't know if he works in an office or if he works outside. I don't know that. The way he's dressed, it don't look like he work inside. Maybe he does. But this man is doing it by himself and he's bent over. He's going to feel it. He's going to feel that in his back later on. It's him doing the work. I knew it. It's him doing that work, doing the renovation. And so now he's got to do double duty. He's got to do the renovations, which is probably what both of them, yes, because of the smell. But it's really her saying, we really need to get this out here. It's not safe for the babies. We got to do X, Y, and Z. And so it's him clearing all of this stuff and trying to get everything taken care of when he comes home from work. And he's got his work bag back there, a couple of them actually, while she sits up there and films. Here's her sitting outside, as she says, in 80-degree weather, eating an ice cream sandwich. That man's at work right now. He's at work.
This might be a hot take, but if you prefer winter over summer, we probably cannot be friends, because if you would rather it would be cold and snowing and sleeting and disgusting out to sitting outside in 80-degree weather eating an ice cream sandwich.
Didn't plan on doing a deep dive, but here we go again. Them, wow, you have such a hands-on husband. Her, yeah, I didn't marry an effing loser. So back to the start of this whole thing. She's probably just upset that she wanted a complete 2 hours is what it was. Complete 2 hours just to worry about the book and the book club, which I get it. But when you guys are working on renovations, specifically him, he's doing it, then it kind of changes things, right? Because you have kids. So the kids take the priority. And yes, it is very important. It is definitely important to get away. You're with the kids all the time, but y'all need to work out a better schedule. I mean, yeah, I think he forgot because he's working in whatever it is, and he's got to remember that. But I think there needs to be some space there because of the renovations. So he's doing the renovations, then he's got to take care of the kids. Then when you get home, he's got to get ready for bed and back to work. That's the life you chose. I got it, understood. But just needs to be a little bit more understanding with what he's working with, right? So that's all my point is.